Hello YouTube, Joe here. Our topic for today, of course, compressors. Now, the one thing I'd really like to mention first off is a automatic condensate draining valve. That is what you'll see here with this plastic tubing. Then leads to a little tiny valve that mounts into the bottom of your air tank. And then the air tank is left open, and this valve now will take care of all your condensate in the beginning of the cycle of compression and at the end of its cycle when it's done with compressing. Totally cool. I've used the system for 24 years now. That's how old this whole thing is. Never had a problem with it once. It runs every day. It's a great thing to add. Your tank will love you. Another thing I'd like to mention is a sight glass. Everybody's got a sight glass on their compressor. Here's what I did. I took a neodymium magnet, a strong one, fairly strong one. This one's a ½ inch in diameter, 1/8 inch thick. And I simply mounted it in this tube, if you will, that's adjustable. And on the bottom of here are some magnetic feet. All right? So this thing sits about the thickness of a piece of paper away from this sight glass. And let me tell you what, between oil changes, you'll notice that there is this globule of nastiness that is building on that lens that is just black and bad. Those are metallic particles that don't belong in your oil. And seeing as though there isn't an oil filter per se and a splash lubrication system, whatever you can do to help your system out is a good thing. Now this oil still looks new and it hasn't been changed in quite some time. But I do run AMSOIL in it. They tell you, oh, you have to use compressor oil, which is, to me, just a complete joke. So I decided when I first bought this thing that I'm going to run a test with it. If it burns down and blows up, great. I'll re-sleeve it, put a new piston in it, and I will have learned. But I decided I'm not going to do that. And I've been running this XL 10W30 motor oil in here since this thing's been bought. And again, it was made in 2000, it was bought in 2000, and it's still going strong and wonderful, wonderful operation. Nothing, no leaks, no issues. So I like that. So a little something to think about. The next thing is this breather, all right? Typical shop, it's going to have a lot of dust, it's going to have a lot of stuff going on. This is an in and out breather. So it's not really a good filter of any kind, although they do have something in there. So I literally took a piece of paper towel and put it over the top with an O-ring. I mean, right? Anything to help yourself out. I don't want more dirt in there. One more item is your air cleaner up on top. Believe it or not, in between giving this thing a cleaning last time, I noticed that wing nut was not 100% tight. So I literally put blue Loctite on it so it would not do any more of that. And I think we're good to go now. One more item I would like to mention before we part, and that is cleanliness of the system itself. I'm sure a lot of you people out there are saying, he don't use that thing. Look at it, it looks brand new. Look, he just put it in yesterday. That's the way I like my stuff. That's exactly the way I like my stuff. So it looks like it was put in yesterday. That's exactly what I want. And things like these fins, this is big time cooling before this compressed air goes into your tank. The hotter the air is that's in your tank, the less air you really have in there. The cooler the air, the better off you are. So it will behoove you to keep this all these cooling fins should be as clean as you can keep them. Not piled with sawdust like I'm sure many are. But, typically that's what happens. You don't think about it, you just move on with life. But if you think about the temperature of your tank, run your tank for a while, do whatever you like to do, and you come back and you hold your hand on that tank. That tank is very warm. And again, anything you can do, right? So a little tip, something to help you guys out. And keep your belt good and tight too. If you guys hear a squeal during startup, it's time to nudge that motor back a little further, tighten her up a little bit more, because if it keeps happening, obviously you're going to wear out a belt. This is a dual pulley, double belt system, 5-horse motor, Leeson motor on there. Never even replaced a belt on them. This is all stock. Every single piece is stock. So it's worked really well. You guys let me know what you think. You take care.